watching The End Zone, sponsored by Lucky Star Casino.
Welcome to another edition of The End Zone, along with TJ Eckert. I am Colby Daniels, and joining us this week is Curtis Lofton, former Sooner All-American linebacker. 9 years in the NFL, and just finished the GM role at Oklahoma in this new era of college football. Curtis, it's good to see you, my friend.
Man, it's good to be on, man. Thanks for having me.
It's been a while.
You look like you can still play.
Man, I can go give you a couple of snaps.
That's a couple, you think?
Just a couple. Well, you know, how college football is now, I'll probably be able to give you a little more than that.
Yeah.
It's not as physical as it used to be.
As long as you're not
like
playing
that.
the Travis Hunter role, right?
Yeah, you go both ways.
Well, you know, in Kingfisher, I used to play some running back and some. I think I'll be all right. You know,
Little Iron Man football and Kingfisher.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited to have you. I'm excited to hear just your perspective on what college football looks like, especially from a team building standpoint, which you just had that role at Oklahoma. But before we do that, I want to talk about the 2025 Sooners because this was obviously, by everybody's standard, a disappointing season, and we all understand a lot of the reasons why it didn't go the way that everybody hoped it would. But John Mateer comes in, and that's, I guess, the central piece offensively to build around for 2025.
Well, if you look at any team in the National Football League or in college, it starts at the quarterback position.
Sure, yeah.
And bringing in someone that you brought in an offensive coordinator, and so instead of having to teach everyone the system, you have one quarterback, the key piece, that knows it, that's going to be an extra coach, that off the field is going to be able to tell guys and teach them the plays and how he wants to run it. And so I think if you look at what Arbuckle's done and his tenure of being a young OC, each place he's been at, if he takes this team to 30th nationally and you keep that defense where it's at, they're in the college football playoffs. Right. And that's a lot of ifs, shoulda, coulda, wouldas, but that's what his track record has shown. And Mateer, he's one of those guys that people gravitate towards him. And he has a natural leader ability in him, and he slings it, and he can run it. And but two is, and I said this before, is I'm a big fan of Mike Hawkins.
Yeah.
And you know, I've actually believed that he has all the potential to win a Heisman too. And so I think at the quarterback position, the Sooners are in really good hands.
Probably ask this question on both sides of the ball, but specifically on offense. Anybody that maybe didn't stand out or didn't get a good role in 2024 you're looking forward to seeing in 25?
You know, everyone wants to talk about all these new guys coming in, and I understand that.
Sure.
But for me, it's the guys that are going to get healthy. And I think Deion Burks, which is easy to say, but he only – how many games did he – 3 or 4 games last year?
Yeah.
And so I think you bring him in healthy, motivated, with something to prove with Mateer.
Yeah.
I think that is a deadly combination. And then you add in Arbuckle, who's going to put them in situations that's going to put a lot of pressure on defenses to deal with those. And then not only do you look at – when you look at the end of the season, Oklahoma is running the ball just as good as anybody.
Sure.
And one of the guys that I love is Xavier Robinson.
Yeah.
No doubt.
No question.
The way, as big as he is, now let's be honest, when you look at when he first got there, you know, a lot of people were questioning, hey, who is this guy from Oklahoma?
Yeah, right.
And I got a firsthand seat to see this guy go in and work, doing the hard work in the dark with not getting much reps, and to get in there.
Staying dialed in.
And stay dialed in. He runs behind his pads. He falls forward. He has a lean, and he finishes runs. Not too many people do that in college football. And then as big as he is, and the way his feet work and his vision, that's an SEC running back. And you add him to that room that's already really good.
Yeah.
I'm excited what they do.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the defense as well, which you're very familiar with. Finally, Oklahoma got a tremendous defense last year. I know you lose some of the leadership with Stutzman and Billy Bowman, but you just look at the personnel on all 3 levels coming back, and this has to be considered, I think if you're doing a way too early 2025 best defenses in the country list, they've got to be in the conversation.
Close.
I know everybody's like, finally. And I was sitting there like, man. But even in that, I'm like, come on, man, we could be so much better.
That's right.
Sure.
And I think the great teams, they don't just have one or two leaders. They have a leader at every single layer. And, you know, I'm going to start in the backfield in the secondary, and you got Robert Spears Jennings, you got Peyton Bowen, you got his young brother Eli on one side.
Terrific.
But I think one of the guys that is coming back that is going to be a top 100 player, in my opinion, is Gentry Williams. He's fully healthy. And then you go to linebacker, you got Colby McKenzie and Kip Lewis. Those two, you know, Kip Lewis should win a Buckets this year. He's that dynamic. And he has a lot of work to do, which a lot of these guys do. And you add in the leadership of Colby McKenzie, who's one of the smartest players. And then you get to the defensive line. The trenches is where it's won at. And you look at Dominique Williams, who came back, which was a big piece. You add in Jaden Jackson. You add in Grayson Halton. And then that doesn't even talk about a guy who could have left this year and would have been a second-round pick, Robert Spears Jennings. And then you add in on top of that, Adepoju. Some people call him PJ. I like to say his full name. Adepoju. And then Danny Okoye.
David Stone, another guy that
David Stone, who's a young guy and you know, and so
the depth is really impressive.
It's all these guys have been grown, have been matured in a system. And, you know, for me early on when I was, you know, trying to finish out the team, I thought it was crucial to keep those pieces together, and we got them back. And, man, this defense is, on paper right now, has the potential to be one of the best ever. They have all the pieces. Now is go and do it.
And they have some sort of chemistry as well, right? I think that's the one element in today's college football that is somewhat dismissed with all the roster turnover. Just having a group of guys that are together, that have some camaraderie, whether that's in the locker room or on the football field, but just that trust in one another because they've played together has to be incredibly valuable.
I mean, look at it. You know, everybody on that defense played with each other last year. Especially in this landscape of college football, that's unseen. And I think it speaks to the culture, and I think you speak to those guys loving each other and wanting to go win. I remember, you know, at Kingfisher, you know, I had an opportunity my senior year to move and go up to 6A football. And I'm a true competitor, so I wanted to play at the top. But the thing that made me stay where I was at is I've been with these guys since kindergarten.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm loyal to them. We've been through too many fights to leave. And so, man, and that's what these guys, they've been through too many fights. They've been through the highs. They've been through the lows. And, you know, I told them, I said, you guys are going to be the ones that leave your mark on the SEC. And this is what Oklahoma football is about.
It's going to be a lot of fun to watch next season. Curtis Lofton is our guest. We need to take a time out. On the other side, what is it like being the GM of a college football team in today's modern era? That's next here on The End Zone. And welcome back to The End Zone. Curtis Lofton is our guest, along with TJ Eckert. I am Colby Daniels. So this new era of college football is bananas, right? I mean, it's actually made the popularity of the sport go up because everybody's like, I don't know what's happening on a daily basis.
Circus.
I would imagine the role of the GM has to be tenfold what I just described. I mean, from what your expectation of the job was to what you actually experienced, like what was that, a just Grand Canyon size gap?
I think with any GM, what you expect you're going to do, you multiply that by 10. And then I think, you know, one of the things that's happening in college football is the people that are above, that are making decisions, that are trickling down, aren't thinking about what it really entails to be below some of those decisions that they made. And but as a GM, there's a lot that goes into building a team. You know, one of the things that you have to think about is the chemistry. You got to think about the culture. And at the same time is one player could destroy a whole team. One bad apple destroys a whole bunch. And not only do you want great players, you want great people. and you can't compromise on that.
Right.
And that was one of the things that, we were unwilling to do. And at the same time, we weren't looking for perfect people because we have a strong culture where we could bring anybody in. And so, what's your philosophy that you have about building a team? And so many people have so many different ones you can look at through college and NFL, how teams are built. And so one of the ways that we believed in building was building in the trenches and growing up and maturing and developing.
Makes sense.
And so, and that process takes time.
When you look back on the work you did, proud may not be the right word. Are you proud of what you did and what y'all accomplished while you were there?
Oh.
Could be a different word. I just proud was one that came to mind.
No, I'm a perfectionist. And so proud, I am proud of the work.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that's challenging to truly answer the question is the work ain't done.
Sure.
And,
yeah. Great point.
There's a system that's implemented, but you still don't know all the things that are trickling down and how that's going to impact the work that we've done.
Sure.
And so, for me, it's like there's still some things that I believe that could have been better.
Yeah.
But overall, if you look at what I've done, I feel very confident about it.
Good.
What part of the job was most challenging, whether that's recruiting your own roster or figuring out the financial part or the recruiting of portal players or, look, the scouting of thousands and thousands of portal players, essentially, right? I mean, I can't imagine what the workload would look like. There's so much to be done.
So I'll break it down into a couple of parts. The first part is evaluations. And I think you'll start seeing in college more teams are going to start building up their personnel in that area because that's where you win at.
Yeah.
And you're going to start seeing people move away from, we want to be the top recruiting class, and start saying, hey, we want to have the best players suited for who we are.
Right.
And so, and turn over every single rock.
Yeah.
And go to Kingfisher to find a guy.
Come on.
Yep. And so I would say that's the first hard piece. The second piece is, how do you show the value of a dollar? And how do you prove to someone you have to earn it?
Yeah.
You're not entitled.
Yeah.
We want to empower you to get this. And constantly, where we're in a society that, and it's different to say, man, how do you feel valued? And someone says, man, because I'm done now. And they're like, man, I bet you wanted it. And I said, I don't want to be wanted feeds my ego, but feeling valued feeds my soul.
Sure.
Yeah.
But how do you feel valued? And they put monetary numbers on these kids, and that's what they think is their value. And so it's constantly telling them, hey, you're not there yet.
Right.
But you're going to be.
Yeah.
Be patient. It's going to come. What is this? Do you want this dollar, or do you want $100 in 2 years that's going to be able to change your family's life? And so that's the second hard part.
Yeah.
And I think the third part is you have to deal with a magnitude of people, where it's agents, whether it's somebody's peewee coach, someone's pastor, that is their agent, and being able to communicate to them that and give hard truths and be willing to stand on the line of, hey, I'm going to tell you the truth, and whatever you do with it, that's up to you.
Yeah.
And be fine with it. And you can't, I think the difficult thing as a GM is you have to be okay with losing people. And that was one of the stipulations for me taking the job is, hey, coach, we can't keep everybody.
Yeah.
I'm going to do my darndest, but if someone's trying to try to hold us, playing at the University of Oklahoma is a privilege. And for me, when I had that Sooners on my chest, it meant something.
Yeah.
And so it has to mean something to these kids because what's starting to happen is so many of these guys, they're losing their hunger. And it was like, for me, my hunger was because
Yeah,
you're getting it now.
they got the goal, right?
And
Yeah.
I want to take care of my grandma.
That's right.
And so I'm gonna fight through the hard of a coach ripping me. You know how many times Coach Venables said, I'm gonna ship you back to Kingfisher?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so too many times, but at the same time is getting them to stick through the hard for the better good of themselves to reach something that not too many people get, and that's the NFL.
Yeah. All right, let's have a little fun on the other side. Curtis Lofton will attempt to move the chains. That's next on the End Zone. All right, it's time for moving the chains. We'll see if Curtis can get a first down here. We'll throw 4 questions your way. We'll start with 1st and 10. We will grade your answers and give you positive or negative yardage. Nobody's ever not picked up a first down, so no pressure at all. All right, 1st and 10 out of the gate. You played at, I was about to go with my other question. Hypothetical, it's the Super Bowl. You score the game-winning touchdown. What is your go-to celebration?
I run over and I give the ball to the referee because I've been there.
Okay.
Wow, that's good.
Even in the Super Bowl.
That's good.
Even in the Super Bowl.
You know what? I'm old-fashioned. Give him the first down. We got the first down on
I was
play
hoping
one.
my former Atlanta Falcon would bust out a dirty bird for me.
Oh,
so.
no, man.
No, we need that. I like this one.
Okay, all
Give
right.
it to the official. Go celebrate with your teammates.
Very
First down,
nice.
Curtis Lofton.
Very
Okay.
nice.
But we're going to go pick up more first down. 4 guys, Mount Rushmore. I need your OU linebacker Mount Rushmore. It could be any era. Could be you. Doesn't matter. I just need your 4 best OU linebackers.
Oh, that's easy for me. I go with Rocky Calmus.
Good one. Good start.
Good start. And, man, they were everything. They were linebackers. They were defensive ends. I'm going to put the Selmans in there.
That's fine. That'll be one head of the.
They can be like a 3-headed one.
That's one.
So we have to get 2 more.
You know, I'm going to put Torrance Marshall in there.
That's a good one.
And then I got to finish with Teddy Lehman.
Oh, good.
Okay.
You know, just those guys watching their film with Coach Venables.
Yeah.
I watched too many
that's
clips
fair.
of them to pick anybody else.
Okay, I like it.
All right, let's go 5-yard gain here.
I like that.
So
that's modest.
Yeah.
So you want me
5-yard gain.
So you want me to run the ball then?
Well, we'll see.
We might
we'll
need
see
to.
what
I mean,
the mentality is. All right, third down, right?
Or it's 2nd and 5.
Or 2nd and 5.
Yeah, pick
that's
up
right.
the first down initially.
All the teams you played for, OU, the Falcons, the Saints, the Raiders, which of those teams would have made for the best docuseries, like a Hard Knocks type docuseries? Which one of those teams would have been the best in a scenario like that?
Oh, that's easy. It's the Saints with Rob Ryan as the defensive coordinator. And so one of the funnest things we ever did, Rob Ryan gave us all spirit animals. And, you know, my animal was the grizzly bear. And so each week he would say, hey, grizzly bear, this is your week. You have to step up and play well. And then he would have plays for us. And that's what it's about, man.
I love it.
I love Rob Ryan, first off, and I love a good Rob Ryan story. So I'll give another first down. I'm being generous today.
Okay.
So we got 2 first downs.
We're
in the red zone instead of the end zone. Let's see if we can get into the end zone with this last question. Okay. Technically 4th down, but we'll call it first down. Ishins.
Yeah.
You've been there before.
Oh, yeah.
Overrated or underrated?
Man, what? Is that really even a question?
I mean, the people want to know.
The oldest bar in Oklahoma. The best fried chicken. It's depending on how you make your chicken sandwich.
Okay. So
you get a piece of that bread, you get an onion, you get a little pickle with it.
Okay.
Now, the chicken's hot, so you got to pull it off because it's going to burn your fingers.
You got to be careful.
Get a little grease in there and just ball it up and throw it in your mouth.
Yeah?
The best.
That's how you do it?
I haven't been to – there's a few spots that I haven't been to, but for me, that's the best.
Is Ishins overrated or underrated based on Curtis' answer? I'm with him. What kind of question is that? Touchdown!
Yeah, attaboy.
Ishins,
We got
phenomenal.
in there. Great spot.
There we go. So
Can't
a
turn it down.
touchdown for Curtis Lofton, which he may not be happy about because he's a linebacker.
That's true.
And didn't want to give up
some
touchdowns.
points.
So I was a running back.
But a
before
running
I
back in
came,
high school.
you know,
So there we go.
We've done it before.
All right, we are wrapping up this edition of the End Zone next. All right, before we get out of here, I've got to ask you the question. OU is targeting Jim Knowles. He has taken the job at Penn State, so the question is, who's next? My question to you is, can Brent Venables call the defense and be a head coach? Is that doable for a guy like Brent Venables?
Yes. I think when you look at offensive coaches do it all the time.
Sure, yeah.
And so, you know, he's been one of the best defense coordinators in the last 20 years. And so I think defense, calling the defense is simple to him. He can do that with
Yeah.
his eyes closed. But making sure to stay on top of the administrative duties and be the CEO of Oklahoma football, adding in that he's going to have somebody else that can help offset some of those things for him. And so Kenny, yes. And I think that I'm not too worried about that whole structure because they have the pieces. And I think, and I'm going to use a Gundy, what Mike Gundy said is I don't want to bring in another offensive coordinator and teach 100-something guys a new system.
Yeah.
I'd rather bring in one guy and then have him learn a new system. So he'll do it, and they'll be really good next year.
Curtis, we appreciate it. We're out of time. Everybody have a great weekend.